Okay, so a lot of you guys might be wondering, oh my god, Authorva, where have you been? We are missing your content, we are missing your videos, we might go crazy without you.
Nobody gives a fuck.
So here's the thing, I could not make videos because I was busy solving some personal issues in my life. Yeah, depression is real, guys, apparently.
2 महीने खाना पीना छोड़ दिया था.
Just kidding, I was busy with college and my youth media startup, which you should check out, link in bio.
Nobody gives a fuck about your problems.
So in the last video, a lot of you guys commented and told me that Atharva, you should talk about a Haruki Murakami book. And I was like, that's a good idea. A lot of people are saying it. So here we are, guys.
She showed me her room. Isn't it good? Norwegian wood.
So when I heard this for the first time that there's people should read Haruki Murakami books, he's very profound. He gives you he takes you to a different world, they would say. And I was like, यार होगा कोई जापानी, अपनी गली में तो कुत्ता भी शेर होता है.
अपनी गली में तो हर कोई शेर होता है.
So after my 12th standard, when I had all the time in the world, I walked in a bookstore, and there, in the top 10 books, I saw Haruki Murakami's Men Without Women. So it attracted me suddenly because the title of the book was very relatable. Yeah.
फिर हेमा का क्या हुआ?
So I have that book, but my friend has borrowed that book, so that's why I cannot bang it on the table in front of you. But you can see here, the book is here. Oh my god, magic. Arpan, return my book, please.
No fucking way.
Every single short story of that book is about how a man ends up without a woman. But in every single stage, it is very different. That kind of amazed me because how can men end up without women in so many ways? But then I experienced it in real life, and the shock is real, for sure. The shock is real.
वो रात अपन 2 बजे तक पिया.
Then I was like, damn, this Murakami guy has some depth to him.
बम्बई की किसी भी गली में चले जा, शेर सिर्फ एक ही है.
So I thought, let's check out what else he has written. Now the thing is, with Haruki Murakami, there are levels to the shit, man. So Haruki Murakami has created a whole new genre of himself. It's called magical realism.
There's a reason magical realism was born in Colombia.
The thing about magical realism is that it is set in our world, but bizarre things can happen, like crows talk, cats have dreams. Well, unimaginable bizarre shit happens in magical realism. And Haruki Murakami has become the master of the genre. There's this very famous order in which you should read Haruki Murakami. Most of the booktubers have talked about this before as well. And then I checked some of the videos, and then I realized, okay, I need to start with Norwegian Wood. It's like Norwegian Wood, Kafka on the Shore, IQ 84, Dance, and it continues like that. So I was like, okay, let's start with Norwegian Wood. And then I picked up this book, Norwegian. It's a college romance story. Okay. It can't be described in 2 to 3 lines what this book is. This book is an experience. So amazing. Here's the thing about Haruki Murakami. He's like, there will always be a constant vibe to the story in the background. Like over here in the back of your head, you will always be in that vibe when you enter the book. It's like I would read this book on the railway station, in college, at home, anywhere I read that book. As soon as I entered the book, my brain went into that vibe. I can't express this in words much, but this has not happened with any other author before. Norwegian Wood involves almost negligible magical realism. It's a story about a boy and a girl, and the girl is dealing with depression. So when I read this book, I was like in not that great of a stage in my life. I read this in the winter of 2019, and this book has a constant vibe, has a constant sense of gloom in it. It discusses mental health and depression. So there are like paragraphs of the protagonist just looking at a butterfly fly, and most of the people say that Murakami smokes marijuana. Murakami smokes marijuana when he writes, and to be honest, it does feel like that. But I have never done it, so I wouldn't know. And some say he's the Samuel Miranda of Japan. This book was written in 1987, and it is set in 1960s Japan. And that makes me realize that why I read. It's like why this process of reading is so beautiful in the first place. Because I was born in the year 2000, so I know how humanity has progressed since then, pretty much. And even of that, even I know just, I would say 5 to 10% because I've lived in India. I know how India has progressed. But opening a page and traveling through time and landing in 1960s Japan is a magical feeling altogether. Okay, but now you can say, oh Authorva, why you are reading a book? You can go and watch a movie. And Norwegian Wood does have a movie made on it, which tanked at the box office. But I think I know why it tanked. Okay, I am Taran Adarsh. I know everything about the film industry. I think Norwegian Wood tanked at the box office because Haruki Murakami is just not the writer whose work can be converted into visual content, because it's the story of the book isn't something great. It's pretty simple. He has kept it pretty simple, but it's about the way he has written it. It's about the way he has expressed it. You can't watch two characters on the screen talk and the progress of the story won't feel magical, but when you read it, it feels magical because you enter the mind of the protagonist, the way he thinks, his ambitions, his goals. It's as if it becomes yours, and then it's so relatable. And this happens in most of the books, but this here is a masterpiece, guys. You should you should read it. So here's the thing about Murakami. One thing that I realized that it is less about the main story and more about the journey, more about living the story, more about the side characters and their stories and their character traits. So he has this friend called Nagasawa in this book. The main character is called Toru, by the way, Toru Watanabe. And so this guy, like Nagasawa, could have an entire book of his own where he is the protagonist. The way he has developed the side characters, they feel like main characters. One thing that I liked about the book is that in this book he sleeps around with a lot of women. And this book is based in 1960s, by the way, 1960s Japan, and he sleeps around with a lot of women, which was sad because that wasn't relatable at all. But at least we have a lockdown to blame and not our personalities. One key takeaway that I took from this book is that Nagasawa has this rule that he will only read books that are published 30 years before from the current date, because he thinks, which I quite agree with, that if the book is still selling, that means it has proven, like it has won the test of time, and that's why it is worth reading. Norwegian Wood is a contemporary novel, but it won't feel like a contemporary novel. See, here's the thing about Murakami, it doesn't feel like any other, it doesn't feel like a genre, and that's why that guy has been given a genre of its own. I have given a lot of thought in this t-shirt, because if you read the book, if you are a music lover, you're going to love this, because Haruki Murakami puts in a lot of music references in his work. In this book, especially, the Beatles have been mentioned a lot. The book has been named on one of the Beatles songs, and it's because this Beatles ruled the 60s, and the book is also based in the 60s, and maybe that might have been the reason. And a lot of 60s rock and pop music has been mentioned in here. And I did not have a Beatles t-shirt, but Beatles made psychedelic rock, and Pink Floyd also made psychedelic rock, and so that's how I connected it, and that's why I've worn this t-shirt. Yeah, and that's why all these musicians are sitting here, because music. इस एफर्ट के लिए एक लाइक दबाइए. Here's one thing that I did not like about the book. It has a weird ending. So I liked this, but I also did not like it. So the entire book is a flashback, right? So it starts in 1987. He talks about 1960s Japan when he was a young boy living in a hostel and going through all these experiences. Book ends in 1960s as well. I thought, okay, this is the flashback, now we'll come in the present, and then something will happen in the present. Yeah, the way my mind is structured is pretty Bollywood. Dude, $500. Murakami books are very expensive, yaar. Official petition. Official petition to reduce Murakami book prices, please. Drumroll, please. Now comes the main question. Will this book make you a player? So here's the thing. Books don't make players. Money does. But what this book will do is that it will make you think about mental health and depression. And if you have a partner, if you have a loved one, it will make you understand that how to give space to your loved one, I guess. It is an amazing book. It is beautiful. It's beautifully written, it's beautifully expressed, it's beautifully crafted. It's a beautiful piece of art. Read it. Okay. Like, share, and subscribe. And comment. Tell me what you think about the video. Tell me what I should talk about next. And read the book. Okay? Sometime read the book. The link of the book is in the description. Yeah. See you next time. Authorvians. Authorva book clubians. See you next time.
She told me she worked in the morning and started to laugh. I told her I didn't and crawled off to sleep in the bath.
Murakami should just hire me as his PR guy, dude. Every fictional piece of content is a mirror to the society. It reflects what the society. Fuck. Now, drum roll, please.